Do I have time to grow some late season tomatoes before the first frost or freeze? Let's talk about that coming up. So this is Daryl, Louisiana Simple Living. So we're going to experiment. We're going to go ahead and go with 3 kind of late season or short time frame tomatoes, see if we can get them in before the first frost. And then we're going to talk about, before I do that, we're going to talk about how I kind of figure out the dates. Do I think I got a chance to get these tomatoes in and all that? And that's what we're going to do today, so let's get started. Hey, hanging there toward the end, I'm going to give you a little bonus update on my grape SPR style and a couple other items. So hanging there till the end, I'm going to show you an update. In an article put out by the LSU Ag Center a few years back, it indicated the East Baton Rouge Parish, the average frost dates range between November 20th and 25th. The risk of frost begins around November 3rd, and then by December 3rd, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to have the first frost and or freeze. And just don't forget, frost is really influenced by different micro environments. Yeah, so my dad lives about 10 miles away, so I may have a frost here and he may not over there. He's a little closer to the city, maybe a little warmth, a little warmer in that area, and it won't drop down to where it's going to frost or freeze. So it's important to understand there's microclimates, but generally you can use those dates as a good range to understand the risk of planting. So, but if you go to like the Farmer's Almanac, you put in your zip code and it'll tell you that in November 15th is the date for 2023. I think it was the same last year. But basically it just says you're within a 30% probability you're going to have your first frost or freeze by November 15th. So as we're planning right now to try to get a late season set of tomatoes in, we got to understand those dates, where you're at in your zone, your zip code, and you figure out what those ranges are and what that target date of your first frost or freeze is with 30% chance of probability. So based on these facts, if we sow today, then that's going to be about 80 days away to November 15th. Remember that like this spring, I think the date was March 7th, somewhere around there, up through that whole week into the 14th. And we ended up getting a frost like around the 21st or something, a week after, when we weren't even supposed to have one. So it can happen. It can happen early. It can happen after that date of November 15th. But it's just kind of the risk you play, and you look at the probabilities. I think I can get some tomatoes in before that point. If not, I'll pull them, and hopefully they'll mature inside. And look, there's colder weather coming, and we got some fruit out there. We'll pull them, bring them inside, and let them ripen inside. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to sow. Now, I do need to go ahead and put some soil in here. Now you notice I'm not planting directly or sowing direct sow into the garden. There's a reason why I'm doing that, and that's so I can control both the amount of sunlight, the heat, as well as how much water each one of these little pots are getting. I think I can get them to a little bigger size and keep them protected from this heat a little bit better by starting out in these pots. Now again, what we're going to plant, it's based on the understanding we got 80 days, possibly, hopefully, a little less, a little more. So I picked a couple of seeds. I just went over to Clegg's. These are Johnny Naylor seeds on the Clegg's nursery. But basically, Florida 91 tomato, that's a hybrid, a Phoenix tomato, and Creole tomato. And again, I can better control the water and sunlight as I do this, and I'll transfer them pretty quickly once they get established. Hey, hanging there toward the end, I'm going to give you a little bonus update on my grape SPR style and a couple other items. So hanging there till the end, I'm going to show you an update. Now the first one we're going to do is the Creole tomato. They're indeterminate, and they produce a red slicing tomato about 10 weeks after the first germination. So you're looking at 70 days or so. So we'll go ahead and then sow these in. And you should be able to harvest your first tomatoes with just 2 months after you set the plants in the ground in the spring, which ain't going to be this case. Let's see, here's some seeds. I'm going to do 2 each. And just loosely cover them up. We'll drop them both in, just kind of get them to where you just got a little bit of stuff on top of it. They're small seeds, 1/8 inch, no more needed. Hey, if you like this content, do me a favor, subscribe, like that video, feel free to share it, put comments down below. Let's get back to the late season tomato video. All right, So these are the Florida 91 seeds. This is a hybrid. So these hybrids can take about 75 days to mature. They're known for their disease resistance and ability to sip fruit in the heat, which is good now, right? And they produce extra large, smooth, and uniform fruit with great flavor, according to the seed provider. And we'll be up against time, but since these do well in heat, we'll keep them well nutritioned, and hopefully we can get and harvest out of these as well before that first frost or freeze. I don't do too many hybrids, but this was available, and reasonably short time to fruit. Poke them in just a little bit. I just dropped that one. Shoot. There we go. 2 there. Just cover them up lightly. Alright, we got our tomato Florida 91s planted or sowed. Alright, next step is a good old Phoenix tomato. And this is a determinate type. It matures in 70 days, so pretty quick to get to mature, get to some fruiting. It's disease resistant, produces heavy yields of sweet tomatoes, ideal for hot climates, and produce large harvests even as temperature rises. Well, it's already risen, so let's see what we can do. Cover them up. Alright, I'm going to water them in. We'll just take care of them every day, give them some water every day. You don't need sunlight for the seed to germinate. Only certain seeds need that, and that's very few. I think lettuce is one of those, but you don't have to have the sun. You want to keep it good and warm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move them over in one particular area that has an overhang until the seedling emerges. Then we got it. So then we'll have to do something different, make sure it's under the sunlight, and take care of them in this heat. A couple of them are thriving in the heat, so I'm looking forward to seeing how these do. So I'm actually going to move them over here just for the time being. They'll stay plenty of warm here. Alright, so that's where we're going to put them. Till they seedlings come out. Seedlings come out, got to make sure you get a little bit more sun. Alright, one of the things you got to think about when looking at these tomatoes and trying to get them to harvest, or get them to fruit and then harvest, is to the optimum temperatures between 70 and 75. It may go a little higher with a couple of these, the Florida 91 and the Phoenix and the Creole. They all do pretty well in the heat. That's why they're recommended for this area. And to ripen them again, I may have to take them off the vine and bring them inside right before I know there's a really cold frost or freeze coming on. Alright, so a couple people were asking me about the grapes that I had done the SPR style out here on the back fence. Or that's the back of the driveway, actually. So check him out. He's already grown all the way over here. And you can tell this is turning into that bark type of vine. So that will last. And that same one is grown all the way over here. A couple more bonuses is we got our Calamandan oranges coming in with a few at the latter part of the season. And this is both black and white turmeric. That is a horseradish. That is some more black and white turmeric. There's a little sage growing for us. And I'm working on the video for next week. It's going to kind of cover the whole garden, but this is that lemon basil. If you could just smell the lemon, look at all the bees inside going around pollinating. This is ginger right here. Two big, huge plants that go all the way back. So if you look underneath, ginger has spread, which is what it does over the summer, and we'll let it stay growing. Look how pretty. And finally, over on this bed, look at that. You got some peanuts. I pulled them out of the ground. I was picking them up and just kind of pulled them out. There's some more right there. Yeah, this summer's really shown us some record-breaking heat. Literally every day the last week or so, it's been at 102, 3, 4, somewhere around there. Heat index 110 and up. Records are being set. So I'm not able to spend as much time out in the garden as I'd like. One thing I'm going to try to do, though, I should have done this a couple weeks back and I wouldn't have any problem, but I'm going to go ahead and go with some late season tomatoes. What do you think? Some of you guys have got a lot of experience, just like me. I haven't tried it to do it this late. It's just an experiment. But if you have any comments or thoughts, put them down below, you know, in the comment section. Let us know your experience this much time, maybe with these types of tomatoes. Can we get them in time? And I know it's somewhat a risk because there's that 30% probability it may happen before, it may happen after November 15th, which will give us time, but it may happen so fast that we don't even have time to really get anything going with our tomatoes. Hey, that's gardening. That's what makes it fun. If you like the content, do me a favor, subscribe, like that video. Feel free to share it, put comments down below. And remember, this is Louisiana Simple Living, where we help you achieve a bountiful harvest, delicious food, and healthy living. Garden on, and as always, I will see you in the next video.